stuff it and deal with it. So this is one way you can do it. And it's also kind of trying to take my brokenness and transform it into beauty. I think one thing that was also really painful about the manner in which they chose for us to part ways and to deal with me quitting was the fact that they acted like they were doing me a favor by paying me minimum wage and by, taking the $700 from me. Yeah. I just wished I had waited a couple more days until I would have gotten paid. But it's too late for that now. And, I just want to learn and grow from this. I think part of the reason why I quit was I don't think I ever should have gone into teaching in the first place. Some of that was me running from myself. So I haven't had an art class since 8th grade because, growing up in an artist family, I never wanted to be an artist. So I rebelled by not taking art. And I think some of it was rebelling against myself. I think of non-artists as muggles, and I now see what artists do is, there's something kind of magical about it. But, growing up, I just wanted to be a muggle, I didn't want this because, an artist's life is really hard. But, so I was kind of denying who I was. And, I just wanted to be normal. And so I studied elementary education, and I've had some really interesting experiences as a result of being an elementary teacher, but it's not really my passion, it's not really my calling. And I recognize that, and I kind of retired from teaching for a while, but this job kind of just stumbled into my lap. I was watching a movie with my friend, and afterwards, she saw the principal of the school, whom she knew, and introduced us. And I said, "Oh, I used to teach there 10 years ago." And they said, "Oh, we have a preschool position that opened up." I guess they've been getting so many preschool kids that they needed to split up the 3- and 4-year-olds. And I said, "Oh, interesting." So I interviewed the next day and then kind of jumped into it the following day. So, my 3-year-olds had been through a lot, like they had been through transition, and I think they had had some other teachers before me who didn't work out. And, and they had left a lot of their friends who were 4, and, and there's like only 3 months of school left, so it was kind of a hard transition, and I had 2 kids who spoke a language other than English as their first language, and, 3-year-olds, this is like their first experience at a school, and like learning to share and being away from their parents and not getting that individualized attention, and being potty trained and all of that. And And an 8-hour day is really long for a 3-year-old. But yeah, I think one thing that made it hard was not consistently having an assistant teacher. Now, when I did ask about that, the school did hire somebody to come in twice a week, and that was really helpful. And then there was a parent of an older child who would come in, and that was really helpful, but she could only stay until noon. So there were a lot of times when I didn't have help, and that was really difficult at times, because 3-year-olds need a lot of care and attention. And, little crises break out, and, you can't be in more than one place at one time. And the Friday before I left was rough, because I was supposed to have a 45-minute prep time, but I didn't get it because the art teacher was supposed to have the 3- and 4-year-olds, but there were too many kids, and she didn't have any help either. So my kids got sent back to the room, so I didn't get my planning period, and I didn't have help after that in the afternoon. And at lunch, we were leaving just as the kindergartners were coming down, and it was a little bit chaotic, and we were just trying to transition. And normally we eat lunch in our rooms, but the school offers hot lunch 3 days a week, and on Fridays they would usually have pizza, and most of the kids would order. Well, they ended up not having pizza that day. So anyway, we were down there, and then the transition was kind of crazy, because we weren't normally down there. And one kid was washing his hands, having to stand on a chair, because he couldn't reach the sink. And then there was a major spill, and then, one of my kids takes off and leaves the rest of us as we're trying to line up. And, I couldn't leave my other kids to go get him. Well, then, I guess, and I was just in tears, and trying to hold it back for the sake of the kids, but I think a few people saw it. But I was trying to remain professional and just kind of deal with it. But, I was just having a rough day. And, and it was Friday, and it had been a long week. So, anyway, he goes tearing off, and the principal finds him on the stairs and was worried that he was going to fall and break his neck or something. And this school has some pretty big stairs, especially if you're 3. And yeah. And my students would often leave the group, and with the other teachers that would have them too, because they're 3, and that's kind of what they do. And, and we just kind of all catch up and end up in the same place, because there's not enough of us, and we're outnumbered, and, we can't be in more than one place at one time. Well, I got called down to the principal's office later that day, and I thought it was going to be about the crying, and I thought they were going to say, "Oh, what's wrong? We noticed you were in some tears earlier today." But no, that's not what it was about. It was about, the kid on the stairs, and, they were trying to say that I was being negligent. But I was doing the best that I could. And I think it was more because they, weren't going to hire an assistant teacher, even though, I had 9 kids. And it's a lot for one person to manage. They say, oh, no excuses, and they're like, promise this will never happen again. Well, I can't promise that a kid isn't going to take off, because that's kind of what they do. And, and it wasn't just with me either, And so, like, I couldn't promise that. And that was kind of like the final. So now I'm just making some kind of filling in some of the spaces with more yellow to further obfuscate the words. So anyway, thank you for watching this, and I hope that this, in some small way, helps you with being able to forgive somebody. I want to show you something. I actually got this really cool Forgiver's license. Check that out. That is through the Empowering Clerks Network, and this is a Class A permit, which allows me to forgive myself as well. Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, let me hold that where you can see it. Sorry. Okay. Can you see that? Yeah, so it says, license gives permission to forgive one or more people who caused you pain and or suffering. Class A, including yourself. Must fill Form 601C to validate. If found, please return to ECN. Okay, this is not a state-issued ID to be used for forgiving purposes only. Thank you. And I signed it, and I put, I agree to support other human beings. So this is with the Center for Supportive Bureaucracy. So there you go. So, forgiveness is an act of will. I'm choosing to forgive. I am choosing to relinquish my right to get even. I am wanting to be free from this. So now we're going to do a little more blue. And I'm going to flip this just to make it a little bit easier. Try to work with. I really appreciate you tuning in and watching this. I hope you get a chance to look at some of my other videos, and feel free to subscribe. And I hope that you get some freedom from justifiable resentments that you might be carrying. Make sure to forgive yourself as well. All right. Thank you very much. Take care.